And I'm here to put you at ease with a new campaign. RuinusInsight here, welcoming you to part 1 of a brand new modded Total Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires campaign. SFO Grimhammer 3 High Elves. Chosen by community vote, Tyrion will defend Ulthuan or consume it in his rage. But before he does, housekeeping. Mod-wise, all info is in the description below. As usual, plug-wise, check out our Discord and join the Ruinous host. Consider joining the channel or becoming a Patreon to get access to perks like exclusive votes, or support the channel by purchasing games, like the End Times DLC, through our affiliates in the description below. Lastly, big shout out to the modders, and as always, the biggest of shout outs to you guys for all your comments and support. Now, let's see what SFO does for the faction. The big one. The reason I expect Tyrion got so many votes is this. He can recruit exalted variants of most units. It's a huge amount of special units similar to the Lizardman Blessed Spawnings mechanic with special effects and abilities, and it effectively doubles the non-monstrous roster that this faction gets to play around with. Really going to help in getting us some interesting army compositions out of it. Now, Champion of Ulthuan gives us some faction abilities, but I'll show them off in-game once we're there, and frankly the same thing for the Retribution or Unity path, but suffice it to say that it is a set of technologies that will decide the campaign's direction in the mid-game. Otherwise, it's a pretty militaristic faction, so we get more influence from fighting and can recruit infantry and cavalry locally faster. Tyrion does, however, get a bit cranky when he's hungry, so other factions don't like him very much, and he can build the Shrine of Khaine considerably faster. Gotta get to murdering after all. For his own army, much simpler. Cheaper basic infantry and silver helms, recruit ranks for hybrid archer type units or archer spear units, and army leadership when defending Ulthuan. Setup wise, we're going with a very hard called Challenge in SFO, as I find that to be the sweet spot, and the AI stats modifier dialed up all the way to the max. That's it for me. All glory to the algorithm, and let's get to it.
Without the Asuryan, the world is lost. Ulthuan must prevail.
Alrighty, here we go, back to High Elves, and I'm interested to see how this run will go under Tyrion, though immediately, without the Asuryan, the world is lost. Not so much. Without the Vortex, the world is lost, and maybe the mage is trapped within it, though they're technically already dead. My point is, this is probably exemplifying typical High Elven arrogance, in that you don't really need the High Elves to be the ones protecting it, in theory. I could certainly see the Dark Elves doing it, although I don't know if I would trust them with it, but anyway, not important. What is important is that we have got to start. Flammable, ward save for phoenixes, and vigor loss reduction for Hero's Army? Sure, why not? For a Mage of the Heavens, I guess it does make some sense to buff some phoenixes. You're going to pop into Tyrion's army immediately, or in a second. Path to Glory, or briefly, how they play. So the Phoenix Squad runs on influence, for those unfamiliar. We gain it by fighting, hero actions, and buildings, and frankly there's like a billion uses for it. The most important of which, or at least the very important one, is the ability to summon lords with some very strong traits, as in pick the traits that we want, like this. Ardent, giving a ridiculous upkeep reduction of 40% for all of these range units, and frankly, if we can pick this up early, that would be real swell. Tyrion himself, as we know, already gains additional influence from fighting on Ulthuan, and apparently doubling the influence gain when fighting on Ulthuan, which can then be spent in the Champion of Ulthuan mechanic, which, by the looks of it, gives us a bunch of army and settlement targetable abilities of various strengths, both defensive and offensive, and then once you go from heir to alliances, use some more powerful ones that appear to be reliant on the confederation of allies. We'll be trying these out eventually. Oh, Confederation or Alliance. Okay, that's actually much easier. So maybe we'll be trying out those a little bit earlier than I had thought. Don't know who and how many we will confederate as of yet. Otherwise, we get access to Patrons of the Realms again. Alright, so we give patronage to one of the Ulthuani kingdoms, basically, and then get a bunch of buffs for the Lord, that is the Patron, and the army that they have. We'll see this when we unlock it in 5 turns. And then finally, the classic example of intrigue at court. We can spend influence to basically do a bunch of diplomatic manipulations, either between us or our, well, enemies, allies, everybody, basically. Huh. Why would we ever do this with freebooters of Port Royal? I'm not entirely sure, but Gentleman Jenkins is right there, I guess, so who knows. Anyway, I believe that's all we got to take a look at for now, and I'm just very excited to jump into our first battle. So we're going to pop Vanola into Tyrion's army and start with our first cinematic in Noble Prestige stands to gain the additional character experience gain, plus 25%. Oh wow. Alrighty, looks like the AI will have absolutely no chance here, but you never know. The Dark Riders could potentially be irritating. Let's see, they will be considerably faster than our Silver Helms, but they're not the crossbows, so shouldn't be too much of an issue. Go.
Our enemy will run from us. The flames of Sunfang biting at their heels.
Alrighty, biting at their heels, are you implying that they are going to run away? Perhaps they will, though the Dark Elves don't really fear death all that much. But anyway, here we go. Tyrion on field, and looking pretty darn good. I'm always tempted to keep some lords on foot and not put them on horses, but A, obviously Tyrion has a named mount, and B, the problem with certain many foot lords is that they can't really get around as much as they'd like. Anyway, I digress. He's going on his horse. We'll probably get a few foot lords in there. For now, though, the battle begins with the Flamespire Phoenix dropping its, I'm going to double check what these projectiles are called, Wake of Fire projectiles upon the enemy, dishing out a massive 16k damage with the first few, I guess, volleys. It wouldn't even be called a volley, but whatever. We're gonna say we're gonna have a little bit of cavalry on cavalry action over on the right flank as the Silver Helms smash into the enemy Dark Riders. Now, the base Dark Riders not going to be quite anywhere near as useful as a unit of repeater crossbow Dark Riders, and though they are anti-large and will dish out a little bit of damage to the Silver Helms, we do buff the Silver Helms up with a nice harmonic convergence non-overcast. I keep thinking I overcast it because I usually would, but non-overcast. And then forcing them to rout with the Phoenix smashing into their rear lines. In the meantime, our base units, Tyrion and our mage in tow, rush towards the enemy ranks, but the poor Dreadspears were already so severely beat up by the Phoenix and by our range fire that they basically routed immediately. In fact, by the looks of it, the Phoenix has effectively already won this particular battle. But that's what you get when you start with a strong unit. Either way, Tyrion and his Phoenix and Sunfang alike are going to bite at the enemy lord until said lord routs. We're going to free up a little bit of space as we chase down the other elements of the enemy army. Frankly, quite impressive that the enemy lord has not just routed and or shattered, because the rest of his army is running away. It's gotta be a scary sight though, especially in the dark here with the Tyrion chasing you like that. And I like how Sunfang lights up the darkness as well. I think that bodes well for future battles, as where we encounter darker fights and where we can't see stuff as well, we'll be able to hone in on the spotlight offered by Sunfang. Anyway, the enemy lord's still on field. I'm just gonna have to keep whacking away at him until he's gone. Phoenix is just gonna help out because otherwise it would take too long. And there we go. At long last, he flees in terror and is shattered. And with that, the battle is ours. One more hit from somebody will surely execute him. And there we go. I was hoping for an execution animation, but it looks like he just got wrecked the regular way. Perhaps he didn't deserve any fancy execution. Alrighty, there we go. No problem at all as the cowardly Druki are cast down, though how they managed to take over the Shrine of Asuryan is quite questionable here. Either way, only the Dark Riders escaped, and that unsurprisingly. We had fantastic work out of our Flamespire Phoenix in the early game. Those fire bombs that they drop are just ludicrously high damage dealing to basic infantry types. It's obviously not as strong a unit to start with as the Fey Enchantress's Grail Guardians, but it is still a very strong and useful one. Now, we will ransom the captives, I think, as odd as that may seem, just because we will need early game money. Yeah, well, we start with a decent amount already. Alright, great. Ransom those captives. Oh, lovely. Enemy killed in battle, and engage the enemy is securing us 500 gold. Now, perhaps the way to find out how exactly the... Yeah, I don't see it. How exactly the Dark Elves have conquered these places will be given to us directly in the form of... Go to the Tower of Lysain, please. I don't like that this is a close victory, but we're probably still going to be okay. Auto-resolve this because it's a waste of time. Yeah, unsurprisingly. But occupy. And mission successful. Let's see how well you heal here. Not very well. Alright, so I think we will need to... Are you able to... Oh, you don't get the replenishment. I guess that's nobles. Alright, so we'll need to build a noble or recruit a noble fast as we possibly can. But that's fine. Mission successful, and more importantly, Potion of Toughness. Hey, free Potion of Toughness, I won't say no to that.
Ready to serve.
I believe, unless I'm mistaken, we're supposed to get some little messages from the lore mod that we're using in this particular army, though I don't know when exactly they will pop up. We obviously have little blurbs over the over this stuff. But as I recall, what it's supposed to actually do is, depending on your location, it's supposed to come up with a blurb, but it might be based on turns, or it might be based on specific conquest of specific settlements, or something like that. I guess we'll find out. Either way, let's grab 3 ships companies, since it seems that we get the bonus recruit ranks to them, in the same way that we do for the Lothern Seaguard and whatever other units Tyrion buffs. Plus 4 ranks for Gateguard, Lothern Seaguard, and apparently ships companies. And I'm certainly not complaining. The plus 6 ranks will make this dirt cheap unit a little bit stronger and perhaps able to hold the line. And then, as I said, we're going to need to get to that Elven Garden up and running, so we'll immediately go for the Elven Garden here to get the noble, since we cannot immediately recruit one. Fair enough. And then... I guess we start with the Elven Craftsman. Frankly, we will probably delete the militia camp, frankly, as soon as we possibly can, because it will only be upgradable to tier 3, and therefore it serves little purpose here. So we'll go for the Elven Craftsman, and we'll go for the entertainment building there as well. Then, the next thing that we'll want to do is go to Quick Deal and see... Start by trading with Avalorn, take their money, but basically start by trading with everybody we can. Actually, wait. Tyrion, we'll start with you. You are at war with Illyrian, but whatever.
I agree.
Prince.
Next we'll go Safari, and then lastly we'll go Illyrian. And non-aggression pact and military access with Illyrian as well. Alright, whatever. And I believe that's all we've got for now. Yeah, alright. That will give us a little bit of money. And then, I guess we will, let's see, we need to, oh, we can summon him immediately? Oh, wow. Perhaps we wait on the Elven Craftsman and get Alistar up and running immediately and have him leech XP at Angariel. It is only 30 influence, and we should be getting a pretty big influx of influence up and running. Ah, okay, so yeah, this is what I was talking about. So basically, certain things will give us these little blurbs about lords, about heroes, about settlements, etc., etc. This is the legendary lore mod, which some of you guys have suggested that I try out a number of times, and I figured, well, why not? We could do that here. Now, this does mean a lot of reading, and not everybody might be interested in that. I am personally a sucker for the lore, so I'd be happy to read through frankly, every morsel, but this channel is a democracy. So, down in the comments below, I'll pin a vote to determine whether we should read more, read less, or the same amount as I do in this very first episode. And then, I guess by the end of the episode, you guys will probably have a pretty good idea of if it's too much or exactly what you want to see or hear, I guess. Anyway, a vote will be on the free side of Patreon, so make your voices heard if you're interested or uninterested in the reading. But we will, in this episode, do it. The White Lions claim Alistar to be the mightiest elf in all of Ulthuan, and certainly his strength and stature is legendary. Yet Corhill is no lumbering giant, for he wields his long axe with a dexterity and grace that makes even his fellow White Lions appear cumbersome. Huh? Corhill in Grace, yes, but I think maybe this was used to say Alistar, I'm not entirely sure. His honest demeanor and noble bearing have won him many friends amongst the lords of Ulthuan and the heroes of other races besides. Alistar has ever repaid this friendship with the same loyalty he offers his liege, and gladly marches to his allies' aid should the Phoenix King consent to sparing his services. Thus has Alistar's axe spilt blood in many lands and in the causes of many peoples not his own. Speaking of Alistar, we will immediately pop you into Lilith's Blessing to channel, while Tyrion here grabs that Potion of Toughness. Lion's Pelt, 15 ward save, 10 armor, pretty basic, but should be useful to us. Next, we pick Attack. Ooh, is that a Mysterious Island? That's effectively free money and or XP. Though, why would you watch Gentleman Jenkins immediately go after it? Noctilus is also right here. And I would love to peel away towards him, but I think we want to knock out the Cult of Excess here first. Anyway, technology-wise, we got the Endless Muster, which will take 4 turns. But as I recall from last time playing High Elves, yeah, so basically all of this buffs archers and spears, including Lother and Seaguard, quite a bit, which will get us through the early game. And the other stuff, cultural advancements, cost 1,000 gold, which is nice, but I think we'll start with the Endless Muster, like so. Alright, then, I believe that's all we can do this turn, so let's end the turn like this. And what we could do while the turn is ending is read a little blurb, because now we have something to do between the turns. The Tower of Lysaean stands as a beacon of high elven architecture, its spires reaching towards Ulthuan's clear skies, a testament to the grandeur of the kingdom of Eataine. Nestled in its northwestern reaches, this tower lies in proximity to the radiant city of Shimmersong, a jewel of the neighboring kingdom of Calador. It serves as a silent guardian over the southwest region of the innermost, or the inner ring of Ulthuan, watching over the Great Vortex and Ulthuan's inner sea. Actually, didn't take that long. Yeah. Frankly, if we do one settlement's blurb every end turn, I think I like that. Though as to whether well, we'll see how many blurbs we get about, like, different lords and random heroes and whatnot, because I don't think it's just legendary stuff. The first time we recruit a ship's company, I assume we'll get a blurb about them. Again, from what I gather about the mod. And hello, Beastman! Oh right, this is a Mixu's lord, isn't it? It's, somebody. Anyway, this is the SFO mod menu, which you can buff up at the start of your campaign. Generally speaking, I just do time and balance nowadays and not take any buffs or unbuffs. Patronage threatened. Rival machinations at work. A political rival challenges the patronage of position of one of your lords. We don't have access to this yet, game. Why? Why you do this? Anyway, Tyrion, you are not... Yeah, thanks. I like that he said Tyrion when I said Tyrion. Anyway, by the looks of it, you can't reach Angariel in one go, so what we'll do is we'll pop you into Lothern, where you can heal up a little bit more. After that auto-resolve, we'll give this blurb a read. It's a big old blurb, too. And then you will grab this mysterious island real quick while Tyrion's busy. And get ourselves out. Frankly, the mushroom stew would have helped here, but I suppose since you're just following, we'll do shiny boots and fresh recruits. And I don't know what that did, because this is covering it. Where we have here. Oh, favorable winds, campaign movement range. This could actually potentially be helpful if Tyrion ends up out of range of something. Then, we could do a 4th ship's company. Let's grab a couple of high elven archers with basic arrowheads. And maybe we'll do 2 heavy. We won't need them against the Dark Elves most. Well, actually, there's some executioners here at the Shrine of Asuryan, huh? You know what? Let's go heavy then. We lose about 30% of our DPS, but we get armor piercing at... actually, wait. You have 5 armor piercing missile damage, and then you have 12, eh? You know what? Start with the base Kelvin archers. I might still build some heavy arrowheads, but it's maybe not as critical. Anyway, the other thing is, let's see how this works. So this is all the extra units that we get here. Isn't it lovely? Exalted variants of so many units within the roster, but by the looks of it, the first one we will only get when we're rank 10, though frankly, we should be there pretty quickly. Otherwise, let's see if we've met anybody new. Quick deal. And by the looks of it, no. Alright, fine. I just wanted some more stuff. Then we should now have enough money to build our Elven Craftsman. And, we could actually upgrade the Haven here immediately. 2.5k is fairly expensive, though. This will eventually reduce it slightly. Yeah, but then this will allow us to replace the militia camp here and then not waste the slot in Lothern, so I think that's what we'll do. Anyway, it's blurb time. Tyrion and Teclis, the defenders of Ulthuan. Among the High Elves, the names of Tyrion and Teclis are spoken with hushed respect. The fame of these twin brothers extends throughout Ulthuan and into the lands beyond. Born into one of the oldest families of Ulthuan, the brothers can trace their line back to the doomed AENARION, first and mightiest of the Phoenix Kings of Ulthuan. It is their destiny to perform mighty deeds and shape the fate of kingdoms. Prince Tyrion is the High Elves' greatest living warrior. So valiant and skilled is he that the bards of Ulthuan sing that he is nothing less than an AENARION reborn, a tale that is given credence far beyond Ulthuan's shores. Since Tyrion's meteoric rise to fame, many have whispered of his destiny to lead the High Elves towards a glorious future, and perhaps one day to take the Phoenix crown. If Tyrion hears such gossip, he pays it no heed, for he is unswervingly loyal to Finnebar. Thus does Tyrion concern himself only with the twin duties of protecting Ulthuan and its Everqueen. However, the latter is seen less as a duty than it is a calling of the heart. It is common knowledge that Tyrion is Alariel's consort, and has been for many years. Though Tyrion is a great warrior, he is no politician, and he is much given to speaking his mind or openly seeking truth, where others would prefer only silence. But for his lineage and battle record, he would long ago have been ostracized by those nobles who hold themselves to be cleverer and subtler than he. As it is, none wish to directly challenge he who banished the demon Nakari at the Phoenix Shrine, slew Urian Poisonblade upon the Finnevel Plain, and set the verminous horde of Kritsqueel to flight with the aid of none save his noble steed Malhandir. Moreover, Tyrion enjoys not only royal patronage, he also counts many of Ulthuan's greatest heroes amongst his closest friends and allies. Indeed, some elves even whisper that Finnebar has bidden Tyrion form a warrior's council, a body answerable to none save the Phoenix King himself. Alas, Tyrion's future may yet come to naught. Across the long millennia, all who have sprung from the line of Morelion, son of AENARION, have been beset by a terrible curse. It has taken many forms, and as it has passed through the generation, ranging from madness of spirit to weakness of body to other, more insidious taints. An example being Teclis being a cripple, wherein High Elves are not born with deformities. Ever. So, yeah. Anyway, thus far, Tyrion appears unafflicted, though some whisper his black moods and short temper are but early signs that all should heed. It may yet be that the High Elves' most stalwart defender might one day fade into tragedy or madness. Until that day, those who would threaten Ulthuan must first defeat Tyrion, heir of AENARION. I wanted the lighting of the Vol's Anvil to sort of punctuate to that point, and oh wow. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is a pretty big blur, but I think we can't end the turn, and thus we're going to do another little bit of reading here. Again, perhaps only for the first episode, depending on how you guys vote, so vote below. My king, you honor us, said Tyrion. My friend, how many times do I need tell you that you should not bow to me? A king must always be bowed to, or else none shall know him as king. Prince Tyrion quotes Calidor II, said the broad-shouldered white lion at Finnebar's side. Even as he shows respect, he mocks. The words were said without anger, and Tyrion smiled. Ah yes, I always forget that you Cracians actually know how to read and write, let alone study history. Careful, Tyrion, warned Finubar with a smile. Alistar's blood is still afire after he slew the champion of a Druchii witch cult yesterday. He is welcome to test that lumbering tree cutter against Sunfang anytime he wishes. Tree cutter, growled Alistar. Chael would find your neck before you could pull that shiny toothpick from its sheath. Tyrion smiled and said, "It is good to see you, Alistar." The White Lion bellowed with laughter and swept Tyrion into a crushing embrace. Rightly it was said that Alistar was the strongest elf of Ulthuan, and Tyrion felt his ribs creak in the powerful embrace. "Enough," said Finubar. "As much as I always enjoy your games, there is little time for them now." Alistar released Tyrion and stepped back behind his king. Tyrion drew in a breath and stood tall before his friend and his king. Finubar was handsome and had the look of one whose eyes were always seeking the next horizon. His blonde hair was almost as pale as the cloaks of his white lions, and the green of his eyes matched the 1,000 gems set within the gate that led to the Straits of Lothern. "How goes the fighting here?" Tyrion asked Finubar. "The castle on the far side of the Emerald Gate yet resists. Thanks to a few scattered survivors of the battle before the gate, no force of any significance has managed to land on the southern coast. It is here the Druchii will bend their every effort." "Then they fare better than we do, my lord," said Tyrion. "Every day the Druchii bring up more warriors across that damned bridge of boats. I suspect they will attack soon." As if to prove the point, the hatefully discordant blare of a Druchii war horn echoed from the mountainside. Its echoes faded, only to be replaced by the cold-hearted chants of advancing warriors and the bellows of blood-hungry monsters. Tyrion smiled grimly at Alistar. "Time to put that axe of yours to good use," he said. Alistar glanced at Finubar, who nodded. "Could you use us on the walls, Prince Tyrion?" asked the Phoenix King. "Always, my lord," said Tyrion. And Glittering Host, ship's company. All right, and yet another blurb. Yes, so this is presumably because we recruited our first ship's companies, and therefore we will have gotten a blurb about them. The ship's company are the seasoned mariners of Ulthuan's navy, professional warriors who serve aboard every vessel in the High Elf fleet, from humble cutters to the towering dragon ships. Years spent at sea hone them into disciplined fighters who can transition from rigging ropes to battle formations in the blink of an eye. Armed with elegant elven swords and broad, sea-tempered shields, they excel in the brutal deck-to-deck clashes that define naval warfare. Each member of the ship's company is trained not only in arms, but in the unique demands of fighting upon shifting timber under screaming wind and spray. Their shields are lacquered to resist salt water, their blades forged for precision thrusts and swift parries in tight confines. When boarding actions begin, these warriors form a gleaming wall of elven steel, driving back raiders, corsairs, and sea beasts with unwavering discipline. Beyond combat, the ship's company formed the backbone of a vessel's operation, navigating storms, maintaining hull and sail, and performing rituals to Mathlan, Lord of the Deeps, to ensure safe passage. Wherever an elven ship sails across calm waters or into the heart of war, the ship's company stands ready, the silent strength behind Ulthuan's naval supremacy. Alright, end turn. It's just, actually, I wonder, see, we can't see the events thing. If only this was visible during the end turn, we could do blurb reading that isn't settlement blurb reading in between the turns. A bit of a shame that, but not a big deal, at least I hope not. Again, I would imagine we'll have a lot more blurbs at the very start. Again, recruiting our first lords, recruiting our first units, etc., and then considerably less as it goes on, which will allow us to do more of the settlement blurb reading. For now, so as not to overload you guys, I'll leave, I think, for now, the various settlement blurbs, depending. Well, again, maybe between the turns still. We shall see. Patronage lost. Your lord has been unseated. What lord? Oh! I assume Tyrion was the lord, maybe started at Lothern? But the AIs don't have to wait for the 5 turns, eh? Obnoxious. Truly obnoxious. And I assume that the AIs are then able to use their military convoys as well? Yes, that's right. Of course, we're using the Caravan mod again. I can no longer go without it. It's just too dang fun. Anyway, you, sir, go... Oh, wow. That's clever. They're not letting us cross, eh? And by the looks of it, not so much. No.
Going ashore. Shield against the dark.
Go here. You go here. No. Yeah. That was difficult. Alright, well, I guess we won't be able to leech in this particular fight because they took up an annoying position, but it makes sense if we have to cross the strait for them to not allow us an easy crossing, so I can appreciate that. Either way, I'm kind of surprised that the AI is willing to fight this, and they're about to suffer for it. Go.
Sons and daughters of Ulthuan, be ready! Gird your souls! Let them come! To battle!
Alrighty, here we go, and yeah, I definitely am going to want a mobile army for Tyrion. It doesn't feel like the kind of guy who's going to sit around and wait all that much, especially as, for all that said about him, he's really not that great of a military tactician, and I think hit it till it dies is probably his best strategy. Ooh, also, before I forget, as I was able to get to the banner mod in Bretonia, or for Bretonia, we were also able to get to the banner mod for the High Elves, and I got to the banner mod for the Dark Elves as well, and put them both in this army. So wheresoever the High Elves and Dark Elves meet, both will have their banners flying high, which is just great. It's such a little thing, but I feel like it adds so much, and I just find it odd that it's not naturally part of the game. Anyway, this particular army is, well, obviously not a big army, still a potentially more threatening one than the previous one. The 2 units of Harpies can dish out a lot of damage and terror through our ranged ranks if we let them, and of course the enemy range units in the form of 2 repeater crossbows are going to be more threatening than the regular Dark Riders are. The Harpies land upon our archers, or actually on the Lothern Seaguard here, but we counter them immediately with the Harmonic Convergence, which prevents them from doing damage, and they decide instead to move to the ship's company and apply their bleed to them. Fortunately, we cut them down rather quickly, while the second unit of Harpies immediately gets charged by the Silver Helms and torn to shreds. The Phoenix, as usual, and as we've seen before, is dropping the Wake of Fire upon the enemy, and doing quite well at doing so, dishing out massive amounts of damage while Tyrion begins his duel with the enemy lord. Our spears and ship's companies alike fight the dread spears and bleak swords that the enemy has. And do like the Lothern color scheme is quite nice as well. And it looks like Tyrion has pretty much defeated the enemy lord. It's not like he has anywhere else to go, as he activates Curse of AENARION, is therefore out of control. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter, as he executes the enemy lord. When the enemy lords fall, it looks like the enemy army loses hope, shattering and giving the second battle to us. Lovely. No problem at all. Once again, lots of work out of the Phoenix side wager, but a little bit more work out of the infantry this time compared to the first fight. Oh, I'm also excited to see how different the different banners will look for the different kinds of units that have them. As I recall from the Bretonia campaign, this mod gives different sort of looking banners to the different kinds of units, and I don't know, I get a really big kick out of it. Anyway. Alrighty, there we go. Well, no problem at all. 447 losses, and we were able to, by and large, keep the Silver Helms and the spears a little bit more back so that they didn't suffer too many losses after being hurt by the auto-resolve. Unsurprisingly, Tyrion has 1 kill, but it's the kill that counts, defeating Erithar in combat, and once again, 24k damage. Solid work out of that Flamespire Phoenix. Ransom captives.
Let them go.
Now the real question is, oh, you know what? Will we be able to reach this? You will not. Can Alistar, though? Maybe. I say maybe by virtue of the fact that, wait a second, your lord has been yeah, I guess we saw this. The King's Gambit. Okay, we will give this a read in a moment, but we have other things that we're doing. I assume that this won't disappear. Archers, oh, because we recruited our first archers. Alright, so we'll give those two a read in a moment. I would like you to now move here, sir. Something like this.
Moving on.
I would like you to temporarily take up... Noble prestige, no dice. Alright, fine, fair enough. Get your root marcher, though. And you... Well, let's get 2 points into Curse of the Midnight Wind as quick as we can. We can recruit nobles, eh? Out of curiosity. Oh, these are the... 20 campaign movement range. Oh, it's not what I want. At least not right now. At least not in this army, but with the ammunition increase, this could serve as a nice noble for a ranged army for us. What we want is either crushing or something else. So there's a dynamo. That's it. I remember from playing Immortal, there's one that gives 10% speed to the army, which doesn't sound like a lot, but speed is really, really good. So, yeah, that's probably what we want. And then crushing, I believe, gives us a little bit of physical resistance and, I want to say, charge bonus, something along those lines. So something to pay attention to. Anyway, I'm hoping that this auto-resolve doesn't cripple us. I guess we're about to find out. Auto-resolve. The damage units will take a little bit more damage. Gleaming Pennant for us, which I don't really care about, and we will take the money. A little bit will count here, and hey, we can reach Angariel. Good. Alright. So, to Angariel we shall go. Tyrion, you can lead. Do we have defenders? We do. Actually, fairly decent ones. Alright, fair enough. Gleaming Pennant on one of you. Frankly, it doesn't really matter, because even in SFO, it's a rather terrible
Your behest?
pennant. You can go right here to Leech XP, sir. And hopefully we can actually use you in the fight. And you don't actually need Lilith's Blessing, and Tyrion actually does. So frankly, we might use you to recruit if you can reach Angariel. And not Tyrion. Also, we'll see how much money we have remaining, because we'd like to recruit, but we also like to grab the Elven Craftsman, but also, the Keepers of the Flame will serve Tyrion at rank 4. Meaning, we could get them on field immediately. They're insanely costly, but I don't know, I kind of don't dislike the idea of getting a very early Phoenix card, just because we'd be able to watch them in combat for pretty much ever. Instead of waiting to tech up to the others. I'd also like to double check if there are any further islands around. Warherd of the Beastfather. Oh, it's Gorse Warhoof. Alright. Fair enough. And yeah, no other islands in the sort of center of Ulthuan, unfortunately. Vortex looking pretty cool, though. Anyway, you are about to attack again. Let's do a couple of the... Let's read a couple of the two blue... Wait, did we get two blurbs? This one's long, and this one's short. Alright, let's read the long blurb, then we'll fight, and then we'll read the short blurb after. I believe that's check. Tyrion moved his king out of harm's way. Must we play this game, sire? Tyrion complained. I came here expecting to discuss strategy. I find chess most beneficial to the mind when discussing such matters, the Phoenix King writ large explained. And I said we'd play one day, didn't I? That day has come. Tyrion grunted and sent his dragon towards Finubar's archers. Pieces were exchanged, the glittering gold and silver moving from the board to the table. Now, apprise me of our current situation, Finubar continued, while plucking a lore master from the board. The Druki have taken both the tower of Lysaean and the glittering tower, Tyrion said tersely. His dragon killed some griffins, only to be shot down by archers in turn. Yesterday they marched on Angariel. If my scouts speak truly, then the city has already fallen. Finubar castled his king. If you bring your men into the city and man the walls, then surely we could crush them here. Tyrion shook his head. No, they won't risk such an attack. They'll continue pushing deeper into the inner kingdoms. If we hold here, then soon Lothern will be all that's left. Tyrion paused for a moment, analyzing the situation on the board, and I believe that move has cost you the game, sire. Tyrion's dragon swooped forward, and he plucked the Everqueen from the table. The two men locked eyes, and Tyrion felt a twinge of unease. Finubar extended his hand. Well fought. The prince and the king shook hands, Finubar stood up from the table, and Tyrion quickly followed suit. And it seems to me there is only one viable option. We attack now, before they have a chance to consolidate their territory. Do you concur? Tyrion nodded gravely. I do. Then come with me. We must make ready the men. All right. Men look ready to me. Let's go to Angariel.
Sons and daughters of Ulthuan, be ready! Gird your souls. Let them come. To battle.
Alrighty, here we go. I'm not so sure you want to make that let them come speech when you face down on the Kari / the Slaneshi. Just, you know, notes for you there, Tyrion. Anyway, here we go. We've got a 3/4 stack, and the enemy's got a 3/4 stack. I always love the sort of feel of the first few battles in the sort of early game, as both your army and the enemy armies start ramping up in numbers. Anyway, we're going to start by taking position and start firing away at the enemy. Just some ranging shots at the enemy bleak swords and such, as obviously they have shields, and instead we will move quickly to target the ranged units behind them. Now, a couple of the enemy range units of the Dark Shards do have shields. We're going to ignore the shielded ones since they do considerably less missile damage, and target our range units at only the unshielded ones. In the meantime, over on the right flank, we engage the Dark Riders as usual with our Silver Helms, who again, despite the anti-large, tear the poor Dark Riders to shreds. And then they will get ready to move towards the enemy main line. We can see in the background our Phoenix floating overhead, dropping that wake of fire on whatever enemies it can, and quite effectively so. Oh, I like that banner on the Silver Helms, who now charge downhill, having defeated the Dark Riders through the Black Ark Corsairs, but we're not going to engage these guys. Why bother engaging them when we can distract as many of those range units as possible? Every second they're not firing is a second they're not dishing out damage to the rest of our army. Tyrion, as per usual and as befits him, is engaging in the duel with the enemy lord, and the Death Hag is already down to about 20% of her HP. A couple more hits and we'll be out of the picture. Ooh, and just as she gets that murderous prowess activation as well, unfortunately for her. One more hit? No, 2 more hits. Looks like the Death Hag shatters, and ooh, is she faster than Tyrion on foot? That's a question. Oh, there we go. The Death Hag loses her head, and with her, the Druki host shatters, and the battle is once again ours. The poor Phoenix down to like 30% of its HP. Gonna be a while until it gets to heal. Also note that the sort of flowers in all these locations do match the Druki color scheme quite nicely. They could theoretically use their own color scheme as a camo in some situation, lying in a field of purple flowers when you got purple, when you get a purple color scheme. But anyway, there we go. We'll do our best to chase a few units down just because we can. Alrighty, there we go. Another nice little early game fight, giving us decent work for the Silver Helms this time around. Though damaged, we were still able to first have them obliterate the Dark Riders and then move through the enemy archer ranks, all the while the Phoenix supported, getting 25k damage, but still dropping in HP because the AI just really wants that thing dead, which, you know, kind of makes sense, symbol of Asuryan and all that, so I can certainly see why the Dark Elves would be so pressed to hose it with arrows, but alas, it did not go down. 12k damage on one of the ship's companies, very, very solid. Tyrion once again defeating the enemy Lord, Death Hag this time around. A little bit of casting from the mage, though we should really get a few more damaging spells. Let's occupy Angariel, like so. And yeah, there's the Keepers of the Flame, though I think perhaps we... oh. I guess it's designed so we could use the Keepers of the Flame to retake the Shrine of Asuryan, which kind of makes sense. We'll get them up next turn, I think, if we can afford it. 4.4k. It seems like a bad idea, but it's just such a nice emote. Either way, Tyrion, I would like you to go here. I would like Alistar to go here. I would like you to... oh, we can't transfer because of the invocation of Isha, yes. You transfer all of this stuff for one turn to Alistar. There we go. Just for the additional little bit of healing in the settlement there. Then, we'll grab the Frugal Noble immediately to just start leveling him. And then we'll try to keep an eye on the rest of those. We actually have a decent amount of influence. And hey, the patrons of the realms have been unlocked before turn 5. I guess there was another thing that we could have done to unlock it. Fair enough. Frugal.
You have my attention.
Elysian.
Ready to serve.
Then, Tyrion, I would like you to pop into... Actually, maybe in camp stance... Yeah, you know what? Maybe we should encamp and then give you back, because... Yeah, alright, fine.
I serve the king.
I was gonna have him channel, but if we can heal more in encamp than in the settlement... I actually didn't check whether we could or we couldn't. 11 and 9.
Fear the might of Ulthuan.
What? Alright. And...
You need me?
9 and 10. So yes, we do replenish slightly more outside, encamped outside our settlement, than in our own settlement, which admittedly I find rather silly. It should absolutely not be that bad. What can you do? Anyway, yeah, you're gonna do that, then you'll channel next turn. You will also perhaps want to start going through probably combined elites. This buffs Spears, Silverin Guard, Rangers, Archers, Gate Guard, and Lothern Sea Guard. And as I recall from your tree, Masterful Strategies, you buff Gate Guard, Lothern Sea Guard, and Silver Helms. We'll certainly want some Exalted Silver Helms. Sad you don't buff Illyrian Reavers. At least not directly. We do still have this, upkeep reduction, but it also doesn't include the Illyrian Reavers. Alright, fair enough. Don't worry. We'll put Illyrian Reavers in another army. And then we'll have to pick between Majesty of Ulthuan and Bloodline of AENARION, though generally speaking Bloodline of AENARION is not worth it. Besides, by virtue of it not being worth it, we will also have the option between Asur Vengeance and Ulthuan Renaissance, Unity and Retribution. The former... Retribution, giving us a massive diplomatic malice with everybody, but giving us lots of buffs for fighting. Whereas Unity seemingly giving us lots of buffs with relationships with everybody except the High Elves, and then more economic buffs. And that's a long ways away, I'd wager, though, so it'll be a bit. Anyway, we also have unlocked the Invocation of Isha, which would allow us to replenish, but frankly, we want to pop the Invocation of Asuryan and the Invocation of Vol as fast as possible. Asuryan to get the bonus influence and construction time reduction, and the control is decent, and then Vol to get the free super item that we can get, though it'll be a bit. You will grab Wind Blast real quick, and I believe you will want to, let's say, grab a couple of basic High Elven Archers. We could grab a 4th Spear, although I'm not entirely sure whether it's super necessary. We will unlock the Company of the Calendarian very quickly, admittedly. And surprisingly, the Straits of Lothern do not allow us to recruit Lothern Sea Guard. Go figure. I guess it's a... Even a tier 3 they don't. That's surprising, considering a regular harbor will allow us to unlock at least basic Lothern Sea Guard. Not that it matters over much, because we can just get the tier 2 from the rally field, just would have been nice. Either way, we cannot yet afford the Haven, and frankly, wow, minus 18 from the Conquest. Frankly, we will want to move to the Shrine of Asuryan and get the construction reduction commandment either way. Anyway, there's not much to do this turn, otherwise check Diplo again. Nope. I keep expecting to come into contact with another High Elven faction, and then read that little blurb, Glittering Host Archers, as I recall. Where were we here? When a High Elf begins his martial training, he first learns the arts of swordsmanship and archery. Only when he has mastered both blade and bow is he inducted into the white-garbed ranks of an archer regiment. For the High Elves, white is the color of purity and integrity and of death, and their roles symbolize the determination to fight to the end, no matter what horrors await them on the battlefield. Once trained, an archer serves in his regiment for a decade or more, forsaking all previous allegiances. There he will learn how to send volleys of arrows high into the air so that they scythe into the enemy ranks from above, and when to hold fire against a charging foe so that every shot cripples or kills. Most of all, he learns to focus his pride into courage that will allow him to stand his ground. Ulthuan is forever beset by grave perils, and even the finest weapons are worth naught without valorous hands to wield them. So deadly are Ulthuan's militia regiments that countless battles have been won by longbow and spear alone. Countless campaigns, too. Few foes can brave the storm of arrows long enough to breach the grim lines of glittering spears. Thus have the invaders of Ulthuan met their doom for centuries. Thus will they meet their doom for long years to come. Lovely. Alrighty, other than that, I don't believe there's anything else to do this turn. We got our noble, we are healing, if only slightly. We're recruiting, and we're turn ending, like so. And then proceeding to the Shrine of Asuryan. Now, for most campaigns, it's generally beneficial to start an SFO by canceling the income for the for your starting province, because it gives you additional growth and allows you to, well, you know, grow much faster. The problem here for the High Elves is the fact that their recruitment is very, very expensive. And thusly, I didn't cancel it, so, Did you just get 2 heroes on field at once? I guess they must have completed whatever building allows them to build masters. Anyway, we need to collect the income, basically. And Lothern will be a very rich province once we actually, you know, properly invest in it and all that. So we need that money. Alright, looking good. Foreign trespasser Galag. I don't see anybody, but sure. I can see Nagaroth trespassing. Shrine of Asuryan. I guess. It's so expensive. So ridiculously expensive, but I want them on field. It's not the best of ideas. We got another frugal guy. Just get this guy on field as well. There's a little bit of influence. Actually, speaking of influence, Patrons of the Realms. Ah, yes. Eataine has presumably kicked Tyrion out of this. Now, level 1 gives us income from industry, favor of the Phoenix King, and nothing all that critical. Aegis of Eataine gives us melee attack +5 for Phoenix Guard. Income from industry buildings for all provinces, and then buffs for Phoenix Guard, missile resistances for Phoenixes. Fair enough. Again, I don't want to go too heavy on the Phoenix and Phoenix Guard in Tyrion's army, because it'll make his army a little bit boring, so we'll see. Though we will probably take this patronage with Tyrion next turn, once the cooldown is over. And then the other one we'll want to take is Crace, because it buffs the heck out of White Lions. Charge bonus for White Lions, devastating flanker for War Lions. But no buffs for chariots. I wonder if Korhil buffs chariots. Actually, I wonder if Alistar buffs chariots. I assume that he does. He has the upkeep reduction for them. Attribute Strider for everybody, but interestingly enough, we would already have Strider on the chariot, so that's not the biggest of deals. Seems to buff the heck out of regular White Lions a lot more. I got some stuff for the chariots and war lines, though, but everything that the chariots get, the war lines get as well. So I'm hoping that, though funnily enough, he can get the chariot mount. I'm hoping that Korhil, assuming he survives and we get to confederate him, it will be a little bit more chariot focused, but we'll see. Anyway, though it is a waste of money, and it is horrifically expensive, and it is a bad idea, and I shouldn't do it, I want to see them on field, so we're going to summon the Keepers of the Flame to lead the stack. Hey, and then we will give this a read once we take the Shrine of Asuryan, assuming I don't forget. You. March to the Shrine of Asuryan and go for Noble Prestige. We'll pop Elysian into your army as well. Oh, you have replenished troops? Oh, okay, that was a good idea then. It also means we'll need to get you a Noble, but this isn't the type of Noble that we want in your army, but anyway, for now. Here ye shall go, and we'll grab this again. I think I should probably build you another spear. Although frankly, we're probably just going to eventually upgrade them to Leather and Sea Guard or Silver and Guard, at the very least once we get the buildings to actually build them.
I will do my duty. Onward.
And you can reinforce as well, sir. And in camp. Funnily enough, we could have preserved our movement range by having Alistar attack this. I'm just going to assume that's not a big enough deal, though we do want to proceed to knocking out Noctilus fairly quickly. Either way, let's take back the Shrine of Asuryan. Let's see those Keepers of the Flame in action against Harganeth Executioners, no less. And, oh, I ended up building regular archers. Well, I guess we could just side grade them to heavy arrowheads. Oh, it's actually a straight up upgrade, not a side grade? Go figure. Not so sure about that game, but anyway. Away we go.
Ulthuan, to me! Fight for your souls! Fight for your homeland! Ulthuan is defended! To victory!
Alrighty, here we go. This one might take a little bit longer because since we haven't been getting to see Alistar in action since he arrives on field and then the battle is over. I did actually want to wait for him in the previous battles, but what happened was that the enemy armies just decided to move towards us, even when they were on the defensive, and so it was ultimately not for us to wait. Here, we move up our range units, and they try to go after the enemy, but the enemy is just backing out of their range, essentially, so they're not really doing too much damage. But what this is going to serve to do is that it will essentially clear the way for us to make our way up the ramp and into the settlement without the enemy blocking us off. So I suppose that there is some value to it. Plus, this will be the debut battle of the unit of the Keepers of the Flame, who do have their own banner. Oh wow. How is this guy gonna fight? He's got a giant banner in one hand and a halberd in the other. At least give this guy a sword. Come on. Well, it's gonna be tough for this fella, but well, I trust in his ability. I suppose elven armor, like elven weapons, perhaps would be a little bit lighter, so maybe he'd have a slightly easier time of it. But he's not a temple guard; he probably won't have the strength to wield a halberd in one hand. Either way, we got our first noble on field, which actually once again looks pretty great. It's been such a long time since I've played Eataine that I forgot how great their color scheme is. It's just quite lovely. But anyway, we have now got Alistar and Tyrion together with the noble, and they're all going to head into the fray. The main thing here being to try and find the enemy units of executioners, for them as well as for the Keepers of the Flame Phoenix Guard to fight. And it looks like I see a unit of executioners milling around. And it looks like they will indeed close the distance. We got our 3 Lords/Heroes fighting back to back. And a quick little charge from our ship's company, but they're actually going to back off and allow the Phoenix Guard instead to make their way forward. And the Executioners surround our heroes. And do get pin-cushioned a little bit with arrows, but obviously without the heavy arrowheads, the lack of armor piercing will mean that they don't do too much damage. Plus, a second unit of executioners moves in to fill the gaps where the dead have fallen, adding more of their Drake weapons to the fight. Although sadly, the executioners in the game will not be getting the sort of one-hit killing blow that they are a single strike sort of thing that they're famed for. Especially not against the Phoenix Guard. Though funnily enough, against the ship's company, there's a good likelihood that they would be killing units with every blow. Either way, our banner still flies. The first of the Executioner's banner has fallen, and they have called for reinforcements, like cowards, adding a unit of Dread Spears to their number. But the Dread Spears will be a little bit more vulnerable to arrow fire, so that'll help out. Tyrion and the Noble and Alistar fighting on the front lines, and which I like also because of the little blurbs that we've been getting. Feels appropriate now. Also, I know that the victory conditions overhaul has been suggested many times. The thing is, I like the idea in theory, but I really like a sandbox experience for my campaigns rather than being told where to go, where to send your lord, and what to conquer exactly. Which is the reason that I generally don't use it. I'll probably use it in a campaign where I feel like the objectives are going to follow what I would be doing anyway. But anyway. Plus, I read that the Tyrion and Teclis are going to get reworked in the victory conditions overhaul for their conditions, so we might as well not then need those here. Anyway, looks like the elites have fallen, or at least the Druki elites have fallen. Our elites still stand. And now it's time for the Bleak Swords and the ship's companies, the weakest of the units on both rosters, to fight against each other. and we'll see how well they do. Although the enemy has a few more moving in to reinforce. In the meantime, our Silver Helms, together with our units of Keepers of the Flame, our Phoenix Guard, will move towards any enemy range units. Why are all these range units so badly damaged, you wonder? It's the Phoenix, once again. It's up to 203 kills and 40,000 damage. All of those ranged units of the enemy lined up and ate the wake of fire and just had a bad day. It looks like we have the activation of the Murderous Prowess now, so at least some of the units are fighting a little bit better. Sadly, the Executioners, which have their Murderous Mastery, were not able to avail themselves of the massive buffs. I recall the in the Fey Enchantress campaign, we had the Cold One Dread Knights activate their Murderous Mastery and absolutely obliterate a unit of Knights of the Realm in seconds. It was pretty crazy after seeing the Knights of the Realm run through everything and fight on par with most things. But yeah, those Dread Knights ate them alive. Anyway, Tyrion and Alistar have arrived on the front line once more. Tyrion leading all the way from the front and once again sending the enemies flying. Oh wow! The noble cutting one of the enemy in half. Huh. Also, does Caradrian go to the player's High Elf faction, or does he always appear for Aislinn? I'm not entirely sure. But considering we have the Shrine of Asuryan, it feels like we should probably get Caradrian. Oh, the guy with the banners gets sent flying, but does come back. Alright, those poor Bleak Swords getting absolutely torn to shreds by the Keepers of the Flame. Although, weren't they supposed to have like a sort of fiery effect on their halberds? Am I crazy? Am I thinking of another unit? And I don't mean fire damage, I mean like the way that their halberds look, or maybe I'm thinking of Caradrian, but anyway. What matters here is that the enemy is pretty much done for. The bounce power has shifted to about 90% in our favor, though a bunch of the enemy Dark Shards have returned just as we charge another unit of Dark Shards and actually doing plenty of damage to the Silver Helms. The nice thing for the Dark Elves is they get easy access to early game ranged armor piercing, and a heck of a lot of it as well. The Druki crossbows obviously being significantly better than the base bows of the elves, or the high elves rather. But that's alright, as it won't help them win much. Out here, the units... Oh, wow, and it looks like, I was about to say, we charge into the units of Dark Shards that came back, but a very nice cast of the Chill Winds through several units of ship's companies, see them severely damaged. I was actually looking for where the Supreme Sorceress was, but because she was hidden up here in the fog, so we're going to head towards her and her Death Hag bodyguard with our lords and heroes. And it's not like there's anybody else to head towards, because I believe that is the last unit, or these are the last two units that remain on field, so the heroes will deal with them themselves. Looks like Alistar will engage the Death Hag in combat with a little bit of help from the Noble, while Tyrion heads directly towards the enemy Supreme Sorceress.
Victory was certain.
Victory was certain. Sounds like you're saying that for a reason, as with that the enemy begins to waver, and I do believe the chain route is here. The Death Hag falls and the Supreme Sorceress will fall as well, but either way they both shatter and the battle is ours. Took a little bit of effort this time around, especially with the enemy backing away from our range units, who in this particular fight thusly did not do nearly as much damage, but it was certainly a heck of a debut for the Keepers of the Flame. Alrighty, there we go. Their upkeep may be absolutely ridiculous and unnecessary in this early game, but damn do they look good, and, well, a rule of cool and all that. The 160 kills on the Keepers of the Flame, unsurprisingly, hacking apart a bunch of Harganeth Executioners. The Phoenix up to 43k damage this time, though continuing to take range fire, and frankly the same with the Silver Helms, who the enemy was trying to focus down, as they seem to want to, well, not want to rather, seem to refuse refuse to get into a range duel with our units, which is a little bit surprising considering they've got dark shards with shields, and they should rely upon those to win range duels against things like High Elven archers, but yeah. Either way, the enemy did most of its damage with the Dark Sorceress, spamming those chill winds through the course of the battle. Contrary to popular belief, those winds have no chill whatsoever. Anyway, let's see. With that, I believe this Cult of Excess faction is destroyed. Occupy. And the Shrine of Asuryan reclaimed. And there's that company, the Calendarian. Free treasury plus 1,000. Province secured Eataine. Shield of Talos. Faction destroyed. Right of Asuryan unlocked. Issue a commandment. Working on it. It is this one. Rebuild Lost Splendor. Construction cost reduction minus 20% for all buildings. And A, the Shrine of Asuryan has the militia camp. Yeah, that's fine. We'll keep that there. Delete it from here. And that will enable us to get the Elven Craftsman. We'll need this early to support the ludicrously expensive units. We'll also probably want to grab the Grove pretty early for the War Lions. Though, upkeep at 212. Can't afford them quite yet, although how much does Alistar reduce their upkeep by? 10%? Yeah, that's not enough right now, buddy. Not enough. What can you do? Out of curiosity, are you able to leave the settlement and channel? You are. Alright, so you're going to go into Lilith's Blessing to max out your channeling. You are going to pop into Shrine of Asuryan, and you are going to... Oh, issue a commandment. Okay, yeah. You are going to swap units again, allowing Alistar to heal them up for us, with the replenished troops buffing them up a little bit as well. Upkeep reduction for infantry, immunity to flanking, that's all fine. Oh, these guys have buffs for flying units as well, interesting. I would also imagine that we probably wouldn't want to use even the exalted variants of the bolt throwers in Tyrion's army, as his army will most likely want to be mobile. So we'll most likely want to either grab Sky Stewardships, but even if we don't, we'll probably want to grab a couple of Sky Cutters instead. Anyway, Mage, you will want to grab, I guess, Uranons now. Get the ability to cast everything.
Shield against the darkness.
I'll let those spells fly, and otherwise I believe we're good. Now, we could use the cash to get another one of these frugal lords. I don't dislike the extra campaign movement range, especially in the early game. Again, we can always punt these guys to other armies later on. I'm willing to pay the influence cost, like so. The other thing was this. I was very tempted to grab this Ardent Princess in the early game. It's going to be costly, but I think it'll pay for itself fairly quickly. It'll be an extra army with dirt cheap archers, plus we can transfer the archers or Lothar and Seaguard from Tyrion's army eventually into that army as well. Plus we can use it to leech them XP. The other option would be to go for not an entrepreneur, but an administrator, giving us a construction cost reduction minus 10% for all buildings in the local province, which is really quite nice as well. 300 upkeep, though. It's probably more worth it to do this once we have 2 provinces, otherwise it might not pay for itself, depending. This, well, that's 1 turn once we... Actually, it's closer to 2 turns of having the Lord, but yeah. We'll get that one eventually. Fortunately, since there's a billion archmages, there's probably oftentimes going to be an administrator if one of the lures available, whereas there's no guarantee we'll see another Ardent Princess in the near future, so Ardent it is, and good use in the early game. Alrighty then, since we've taken that territory, I do believe we have another one of these blurbs. Was it the Phoenix Guard blurb? Yes. Keepers of the Flame. Oh, we got a little blurb about the, specifically, the Regiments of Renown. Interesting. The Shrine of the Creator is the holiest place in all of Ulthuan. It is within this great pyramid temple that each new Phoenix King is crowned. At least, should he pass unharmed through the Asuryan's sacred flame. And the sacred flame itself is watched over by the silent warriors of the Phoenix Guard known as the Keepers of the Flame. Only they, of all mortals, have witnessed the full wisdom of the Creator. In moments of dire need, members of the Sacred Order siphon small portions of the sacred flame into their weapons and march forth from the temple to fight alongside the defenders of Ulthuan. Their foes are quickly reduced to smoking corpses as their white-hot blades cut through flesh, leather, and even metal with ease. That indeed they do. Alright, I believe that's all we can do this time. Minus, did we gain vision of another faction that we could trade with? Apparently not. We really need to build those wines. They might help us with the whole trading situation. Oh, sorry, are you besieged? You are besieged. So Noctis will most likely destroy Caldor rather soon. Which we could do about it, though. It'll probably take us 2 turns to get to Lothern. We could just straight up declare war. I wonder how much money.
We are not savages.
Declare war on the Dreadfleet. You get 746 money out of it. Though I do wonder if they would, the Dreadfleet would then abandon this idea. Either way, we want to knock these guys out since we are not yet at war with the orcs. I don't see signs of Nakari, but well, hopefully he'll keep his mitts off Safari since we want the legendary lord. Anyway, we'll propose this to join the war because I still fully suspect that these guys will die. I'm gonna leave the Warherd of the Beastfather alone for now because, you know. Yeah. Anyway, that's unassigned skill points. I think that's just Tyrion. Yeah, it's just Tyrion, isn't it? Alright, fair enough. End turn. Also, there was another little currency up there. I want to double check what that is because I don't think I saw it in the how they play thing at the start. I don't recall seeing anywhere where we could spend that. Oh, maybe we need to spend it to unlock the techs in Unity or Retribution? Maybe that's the case? I guess we'll find out. I hope we'll find out. I'm trying to... ruins. Alright, so it looks like... Noctis decided to raise Calador rather than occupy it. Kind of a curious choice, I suppose, but perhaps he wanted to play out here. I see a couple of his little armies, and Noctilus himself out here. This may not be a bad thing. If he's moving his way this way, he can't take Lothern, but if we hide an ambush on the ground, we may be able to catch him unawares. Though I do wonder if he'll try to land here. Might be irritating if he does, we'll see. Issue a commandment. Commandment issued. Take patronage. Use influence. Alright. I guess we should kick the Eataine patronage out. It feels wrong to leave it there. So, Tyrion, you're gonna take the patronage like so. Duration and patronage immunity from threats. And then we'll upgrade you... Will this reduce the upkeep for the Phoenix Guard? It will not, damn. I was really hoping, but oh well. And what do we have here? Caldor destroyed as expected, heir of AENARION, the Eternal Flame. Oh, right, we got the blurb about the Keepers of the Flame, but not about the Shrine of Asuryan. Set camp while our lord makes a visit to the temple, shouted a captain as he turned to Tyrion. How long will you require? Tyrion gave him a glance. We'll stay here for a day at most, but I'm keen to continue with our orders. The captain nodded and walked off, leaving Tyrion alone to go to the temple of Asuryan. This temple was one of the most holy places for his kin, ancient and magical. Teclis claimed it was built by the Slan before they became the docile and lost creatures they were now. Docile? Sir, you have not met Mazdamundi. Tyrion's pilgrimage was swift and silent, descending into the ziggurat where so long ago he was attacked along with his brother by the demon Nakari, not for the last time. But it was here that against the odds they defeated the greater demon through his valor, Teclis's powerful magics, and the cleansing fire of Asuryan's flame. So here he came to pray to Asuryan for protection when the time came that Nakari would come for his life once more. When the captain of the White Lions met his death at the hands of the Dark Elf assassin Urian Poisonblade, the bodyguard of the Phoenix King gathered to select a new leader from amongst their ranks. Their choice, approved and blessed by the Phoenix King, was the warrior Alistar. Thus has Alistar served Finubar the Seafarer with unfailing loyalty for many years, and has stood steadfastly beside him at many battles. Indeed, Alistar's gemstone set belt was a gift from Finubar following the Battle of Torrakar, where Alistar hurled himself in the path of Morik the Black's Manticore. Alistar was badly mauled, but gave far better than he got, disemboweling the beast with a single swing of his axe before unconsciousness took him. Herald of Mathland, free movement range, that's going to Tyrion, buddy. And what else do we have here? Ah, our first research completed, good. An unusual location in the Shrine of Asuryan. It is an exquisite vineyard. Oh, man. Huh. There's Slaaneshi corruption, but there are Slaaneshi cults on Ulthuan, A, and B, and elves do like their wine. Plus, there was the Cult of Excess here, maybe leaving it behind. I don't know. Usually, I don't engage with the chaos-flavored, unusual locations. But maybe lore-wise, although I wish it wasn't at the Shrine of Asuryan. That kind of bothers me, admittedly. But that seemed kind of an appropriate for it to appear as a little gift left behind by the Cult of Excess. I'm going to leave it for now. I'd like to hear your guys' opinion on it. Anyway, capture 2 provinces. Otherwise, we'll burn it down. Tyrion, I would like you to go into ambush stance. Go right here towards, or as far as you can travel to Angariel. Then, I also want to double check something. These guys are really good too. But not what I was looking for at this time. Anyway, you, Alistar, will transfer all of your stuff to Tyrion. I mean, not your stuff. Tyrion's stuff back to Tyrion. Alright, like so. And then we'll send Overhaul to go into Tyrion's army as well. There we go. And you, sir. You want to make use of the... Oh, actually, we do not want to make use of the... Tallest Dragon Bane Gem. I had assumed that we had something for Tyrion, but apparently not. Alright, fair enough. Tyrion, keep saving your points, I think. Sword Player might be nice, and Speed of Asuryan might be nice, but frankly, you have a lot of points to apply when you reach rank 10 and rank 12. 6 between these 3. And there's some good stuff there. And then another 4 here, so you're going to be saving your points for a little while, buddy. Though I am still tempted by combined elites. Spears, Rangers, Lothern Seaguard... Oh, does it not include ships companies? I see ships companies here, but they're not listed, oddly enough. Huh. Well, they wouldn't be anywhere else. So I guess it is still this. Escort just to a combined elites. Frankly, there's a lot of exalted units in here, and that includes the exalted silver helms, and Tyrion will want exalted silver helms. He likes those. And he buffs those. Same with the exalted gate guard. I probably will not give him any Lothern Seaguard at the end of the day, because I'm so sick of Lothern Seaguard. Anyway, what do we got here in the treasury? We can get that Elven Craftsman that I was talking about, and we should probably upgrade the Shrine of Asuryan to start. I was going to upgrade Angariel, but as I recall, the shrine itself isn't all that expensive to build. It's a tier 1 landmark, 1,600, and it'll reduce our upkeep slightly. Plus the 10 control will basically maximize our control in Lothern forever, which is dropping right now, so yeah, because I didn't build the amphitheater. Admittedly, we could build the amphitheater, but for now I think we'll start with the homestead. We'll delete it later out of here, but we need the additional growth as the 2 ports are not sufficient to and get us where we want to go. And next we will go for, I'm going to say, reload reduction. Frankly, we're going to get all 5 of these, so it doesn't really matter. And much as I'd love to spend money on cultural advancements, we're probably not gaining enough from trade right now to make it worth our time. Otherwise, hello. Avalorn wants a defensive alliance? Yeah, sure. Oh, wow, they are being pushed back by the Scourge of Khaine, eh? Alright, let's get a vision of what's going on out here. Do you want to pay you 62 money? It bothers me, but just do it whatever, I don't care. Alrighty, and the vision gives us nothing. Alright. There's no way... Oh, she probably lost her main army to the Scourge of Khaine. I'll have to go up there to deal with them and Nakari. I'm just going to hope that Nakari won't be able to wipe anyone out while we deal with Noctilus, because we still do have to. Anyway, skip, and then the turn. Oh, I forgot to send out the convoy, which we could have done this turn, but I guess we'll do it next turn. Plus we have to pay money for it, so. I'm so excited for more convoy battles. The mod is just so wonderful. Anyway, aha, that worked out. Noctis is unfortunately not in March stance, but I wager it won't matter. I guess the only issue potentially would be is if we can't leave the port in because of these guys circle their zone of control, we might not be able to leech XP. But this is a great opportunity to knock out Count Noctilus's... Assuming he still has it. His single Necrofex Colossus. I actually can't see how much of a stack he has. Peggy has half a stack. What does Nocti have? Come on. Actually, we should probably refer him to him as Niklaus since he prefers Noctilus, just for the little bit of insult. Yeah, he still does have his Necrofex and a Depth Guard unit. Outagain's outpost construction, Lothern besieged by sea. Oh, they stopped this being constructed. Well, isn't that adorable? The main issue with that is that... Actually, we'll see, I guess. Lothern besieged, yeah, so Kydril will not be able to reinforce, but... Are you gonna be able to... Okay, go like this. Okay, this is gonna be kind of weird, but it's what it is. Go like this. I'm gonna hope that you're gonna be in range. And then we'll see if they run. Will they run? Guess we're about to find out. Oh wow, we are super out of time. Oh, but it's right here. No, I gotta do it. Can't stop me. Alrighty, hey, and wait, but where's the little stack? Little stack? What? Did they... Oh, maybe they landed? I'm not entirely sure, but they're both dead now. Oh, Noctilus, you played yourself, buddy. Well, I mean, admittedly, we did go into ambush, so he didn't know our stack was here. He just thought there was nothing, so... Yeah, we played him, I guess. Anyway, let us give the Gleaming Pennant to... I guess the Spears still. And away we go. We're fighting this real quick.
Will you bring shame and defeat to the king? No! Victory is our only choice.
Alright, well the choice may not be up to you, but I think we'll be just fine in this particular fight. Here we go. Tyrion now has 2 nobles in tow, which are going to have to replace Alistar because he's so far away that he's just not going to get here in time. And considering the 337 range on the Necrofex Colossus, we are just going to have to charge the enemy immediately. Though, as soon as we draw close, the Noctilus activates his Wraith Storm ability, hitting one of the High Elven archers hard and basically breaking them with a single use of the ability, as well as taking about 75% or so of their HP. Unfortunately for the enemy, the Phoenix moves together with the Silver Helms as they charge in on the flanks. The wake of fire and the wake of the lances. There we go. Crippling the enemy gun line even as the arrows come down upon them. Tyrion, in the meantime, moves towards Noctilus himself while our spears and our ship's companies engage the depth guard. Ship's companies, being a super fragile trash tier infantry unit, being pretty much an ideal target for the depth guard with twin axes, means that these guys are going to be pretty dangerous here. And keep in mind that all of Noctilus's guys have a death wave or similar ability to them when they reach low HP. Ooh, speaking of low HP, a cackle fruit ability coming in from the enemy gunnery wight just as it melts away, or as the gunnery wight melts away under fire from our archers. It does about 60% damage to the ship's companies. However, at the same time, we do more damage to the enemy with our Flamespire Phoenix, with the Fire's Wake plus the 2 nobles closing the distance and focusing those depth guard who severely get debuffed by the Curse of the Midnight Wind. Noctis is down to about half of his HP thanks to Tyrion, and his personal Necrofex is down to about 20% of its HP, as we have closed the distance with it with the Keepers of the Flame. We don't need them to deal with the enemy units of depth guard. and they're probably the best option to deal with the necrofax. All the archers will focus it down to help them out as well. Tyrion defeats a Noctilus, and it looks like the necrofax is about to fall. It disgorges its complement of a zombie crew to try to stay in the fight in desperation, but the arrows continue raining down upon it. The halberds swing until the great Colossus topples onto the zombie horde, crushing some of them under its own bulk, and then we just have to wait out the clock until the zombie pirates melt away and Noctilus' army is bid a good day. That was so dumb. Anyway, there we go. A very nice fight, however, and while we did take a fair bit of damage to those abilities, and a parting gift of a Melkot's Mystifying Miasma on Spearman, the day is ours. And you can't underestimate Melkot's Mystifying Miasma in SFO. It actually does a lot of damage, and if you have several casters of it, you can abuse it from across the map to dish out massive amounts of damage to the lines of enemy infantry. Certainly a thought for future armies as well. Anyway, once again, I'm really digging the color scheme on these guys. Oh, this guy has a horn. Good for him. Alrighty, there we go. Pretty much no problem. A -1 small issue, and that was their abilities. 13k damage on Noctilus and 7.5k damage on the Gunnery Wight. They're pretty much the only ones that did any significant work. Well, a little bit out of the Depth Guard, admittedly, and the Necrofax, but Cackle Fruit from the Gunnery Wight, Wraith Storm, plus whatever other abilities Noctilus has, and Noctilus' unique ability giving sort of little passives to all of his units was also hurting us a little bit, but otherwise we're just fine. I'd love to heal. I would really love to heal, but we really need the cash, unfortunately. And we're just gonna have to continue moving damaged. It is what it is, and heal we will. 226k damage on the Flamespire Phoenix, who I have a fear that will never be anywhere near full health in this particular run. We've got the Silver Helms with 13k damage, sharing himself with 2 kills, but one of those was Noctilus, and really that's what matters. Ransom captives. Alright, plus we get Noctilus's defeat rate, which as I recall is -5... -5 armor piercing damage, something like that?
Ulthuan triumphant.
What is this? What am I seeing here? What?
Are you sweetling me?
I guess those heroes were just sort of sitting there. I'm not entirely sure what the heck that was, but it looked a little bit weird anyway. And we killed in battle an heir of AENARION, the destruction of the Dread Fleet, with a heck of a long read, which I think we will most likely leave to next episode. Yes, enemy armor reduction by 5, which is really worth our time. A Vortex Shard. Well, we don't have any other casting items, so we... Oh, wait, not Tyrion. Alrighty. Then we will want Alistar to pick up the defeat trait of use, so we will go here, and Alistar will auto-resolve it to double up on the defeat trait. This better not cripple our army. Now we're okay. A Sky Titan string, wellity. The game really wants us to get K-Drill up and running. Fair enough, you get the Sky Titan string, and you'll provide that shield breaker for your Ardent Archer army. Isn't it lovely? Not sure how much value you're going to get out of that frenzy, but otherwise good. Potion of Strength. Okay, that... well, Strength and Toughness both kind of make sense for Tyrion. I'm going to say give you the Potion of Strength for now, and then we will, you know, redo it later on. Also, how close are you to your mount? Ugh, so close. Now, actually, that's a question. You could land back at Lothern, and most likely leech the XP. I'm gonna do this. Noble 1, I'm going to send you out here. I want to see what the garrison of the Galleon's Graveyard looks like in the early game. Because if it's, obviously if it's like a million billion necrofaxes and such, we can't do anything about it right now. And no, it's fine. It's completely fine.
Your orders?
I think we will want to land here as fast as possible, though, so it might mean leaving Peggy Fen. Ah, but we could pick up our mount, but it'll cost like half our movement range right now.
I am denied.
Huh? I can't tell if you're at sea. Are you at sea? What is going on here?
Champion of the
No, this will take.
Everqueen.
Yeah, you're on the ground, right?
Highborn.
Yeah, looks like it. All right, I guess we will use Alistar to leech then. Alistar, go into full speed stance.
Now.
Go right here. Oh, this will take all your movement range. Huh. There's a decent likelihood that you can run away, but I guess we'll see. Alistar, land here then. Like
A
so.
noble victory.
Then you should hopefully be able
At
to
your
reinforce.
service.
Yes. And then this will auto-resolve because we have the garrison at Lothern. Now you're gonna run. How far are you gonna run? Disgustingly far. Now, the annoying aspect of this is, unfortunately, I think, well, we don't have the garrison to rely upon, and you can't even cross. So I guess we will have to send Tyrion after you. Which is a shame, but it is what it is. Alright, and this one we will auto-resolve.
I'm surrounded by fools.
Like so. And then we're just gonna book it towards the Galleon's graveyard next turn. Auto-resolve, close victory, but we do have the nobles buffing us, or the noble now buffing us now, so we should be fine. I'm guessing the Phoenix is gonna get damaged. Yeah, but it's okay. Take the money.
A fair exchange.
And I take it the noble will have leveled to another point and replenish troops. Good. Enemy killed in battle. There we go. I wanted the rank 7 for Malhandir, and I guess you will go into March Dance and get into Lothern. Yeah. And heal a teensy bit more. And then we'll use the harbor to, well, to go as fast as we can. Well, that's blessing for you, and Alistar, you can't switch. Actually, you know what? Get away from Caranthel, just because just in case he works move and attack you. Alrighty. And there we go. I think we've accomplished plenty in this first episode. It went long, but I was having a lot of fun, so yeah, that explains that. I am going to call it here in 5 seconds. After we do 2 things. Military convoys. Get our first convoy up and running. Hello, agents of Asuryan. Yeah, that's the choice here. Oh wow, only 1 melee unit though, but we do have the couple of Lothern Seaguard, but yeah, that seems like the obvious thing. Higher chance of encounters with High Elves. Sure, hire an ad master, and we'll head you immediately to... I guess Arnheim, because it's the closest. Bordelot is currently owned by some beastmen, which is exactly the same, but this I feel... Actually, I don't know if this is safer. I don't want it to die immediately. But nonetheless, go to Arnheim. Give it a try. And we're going to have to spend a little bit of cash on it, but it is what it is. Dispatch. Yelgren Convoy. Good luck. Does not feel like it should take 5 turns, but it is what it is. And what is this? Oh, we can spend influence to increase our cargo capacity, making us some more money. However, I think the influence is more important right now because we have to upgrade Tyrion's patronage and probably get the Creation patronage for Alistar, presuming we don't do so with Corhill later on, but we'll see. Anyway, let's go for Don't Request. Alrighty, the other thing I wanted to do was potentially pop off the Invocation of Asuryan, though... I mean, yeah, we could. This gives us additional influence. It doesn't give us additional growth, however. The problem here being that... Well, it won't reduce the construction time in this, so perhaps we wait until we can upgrade the next of our towers, whichever it may be. So we'll wait. Like this, we will upgrade you two, however. Anyway, with that, I'm going to call it here. Next time, we sail to the Galleon's graveyard to quickly knock out Noctis, and then sail back, grab up Vol's Anvil, and go after the Warherd of the Beastfather before he takes too much territory here. And then here to take the Orcs out, and up north to Nakari and the Scourge of Khaine. Most likely, we'll have to build a secondary army very quickly, but fortunately, with the cost reductions on Caedrel here, archers are going to be, well, much more expensive to recruit than upkeep, so that'll be the issue here. Too bad we can't get a recruiter lord, but we'll deal with that. And of course, we got to get Alistar his army, so all in due time. Anyway, more Tyrion to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, and don't forget to vote on how you feel about the legendary lore mod as the addition, both in general and towards reading further in this campaign. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.